My dear students, welcome back to my English channel in YouTube, English with Malik sir. In the previous class, we have discussed about the importance of phrases in our sentence structure. We know that how noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, prepositional phrase, verb phrase, these phrases play very dynamic role in expressing the thoughts of or feelings of our mind in a very clear manner. Therefore, what cannot be possible by a single word, that can be possible by a phrase. Phrases are used to ornament our language, to ornament our spoken and written English. Yes, therefore, students are expected to know as much phrases as possible. Yes, formation of phrases, application of phrases, these are very essential factors. Again, we have also discussed about the difference in between the word and phrase, and now here we find that there are also differences in between phrase and clause. Phrase is a group of interlinked words having a meaning but not complete meaning. And side by side, a phrase has no subject part, no predicate part. But on the other hand, clause has a subject part, has a predicate part, and also a finite verb. Therefore, there are differences in between clauses and the phrases. Well, let's see how. Remember, a clause consists of a predicate part, subject part, a predicate part with a finite verb. This is the most important factor in order to distinguish between phrase and clause. Again, subject part, a predicate part with a finite verb. Yes, it may form of a simple sentence. Yes, a clause may be a simple sentence. Yes, giving complete meaning. Yes, again, part of a compound or complex sentence. Compound and complex sentence. You see, basing the clause, sentences are of three types. One is a simple sentence, then second is a compound, and third the complex sentence. Yes, formation of these sentences differ from one another. Then how? Listen. Clauses are three types, such as principal clause, number 2, coordinate clause, number 3, subordinate clause. Yes, this is also very interesting. Principal clause, yes, you see, a principal clause contains one finite verb, one subject part, one predicate part, and conveys the full sense. Yes, here we find a principal clause contains one finite verb, one subject part, and conveys the full sense. It is also known as independent or main clause. These very interesting fundamental ideas should be there in our mind. Yes, simple sentences are of 5 types we will discuss, and all these types of simple sentences can be expressed with the help of one clause. It is found in simple sentence. Naturally, simple sentence, principal clause. Yes, it means one clause is enough for simple sentence in expressing complete meaning. Right. Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause in the sense the clause which remains subordinate. It is very natural clause. Subordinate clause remains dependent and subordinate to the main clause. Without main clause or principal clause, subordinate clause cannot express in complete meaning. This is the matter. The other idea what we find in this connection, that is a coordinate clause. Yes, coordinate clause here, the matter that coordinate clause is a clause when one or more main clauses are joined. Right. Very interesting. Whenever there is one clause, there is simple sentence. Whenever one or more main clauses are joined to the principal clause with the coordinating conjunction. Definitely, whenever two or more clauses, independent clauses, are connected with the help of what? That is what we call coordinating conjunction, or a coordinator, or in other words, a linker of what? Compound sentence. Independent clauses are joined by a linker or coordinator or coordinating conjunction, like but, either or, neither nor, both and, not only but also. So you see, listen here, these are the coordinations. Yes, but and yes, we find that is what we call the coordinating conjunction are called coordinating clause and equal to the principal clause. Naturally, in rank, they are equal to. It means if we divide the compound sentence, the clauses can express independent meaning. Yes, this is the difference between complex and compound sentence. Whenever in a complex sentence there is one principal clause, two or more subordinate clauses, one or more subordinate clauses. At the same time, in complex compound sentence, the clauses there may be two or more than two. They are all independent clauses and they are connected with the help of coordinator or linker or connector or conjunction, what we say. Yes, now come next idea. From clause point of view, sentences are of three types, such as simple, complex and compound. Yes, so clause decides the sentence. If there is one clause, definitely that is a simple sentence. If two or more independent clauses are connected with the help of a coordinator or conjunction or linker, then that is compound sentence. Whenever one main clause or principal clause is there, independent clause is there, and other one or two subordinate clauses are there to depend on the main clause with the help of subordinating conjunction. With the help of subordinating conjunction, then that is called complex sentence. Yes, well, so here these are very, very basic or the fundamental ideas to know about the sentence construction. So, without the knowledge of clause, we cannot express our spoken and written English properly. Therefore, clause plays a very significant role in our spoken and written English. Understood? Okay, now come next. Here, the other ideas what we find that in connection with the compound sentence, yes, matter is clear that how in a simple sentence there is one clause, what I have already told you, one subject part, one predicate part and one finite verb. Yes, this is simple sentence. My dear students, finite verb means a verb which takes tense. Verb which takes tense is called finite verb. From the point of view of taking tense, verbs are of two types. One is a finite verb, other is a non-finite verb. Therefore, we should be very much careful in this connection. Without finite verb, no sentence nor a clause can be formed. Finite verb is a must, and non-finite verbs cannot be used without finite verbs. For example, it has been snowing for a week it has been snowing. It has been snowing. Here we have three verbs. Has is the finite verb, the first verb, and been is the non-finite verb. Snowing is also the non-finite verb. So remember, without finite verb, neither a clause nor a sentence can be formed. Yes. Again, another matter, a simple sentence requires one clause, one subject part, one predicate part, and one finite verb. Yes, here we have, it has been, example, it has been raining since morning. Another example, it has been raining. Here we have has, finite verb, been, non-finite verb, raining, NFP, non-finite verb. Again, yes, and it is in this simple sentence, it is the subject part, and has been raining since morning is the predicate part, and has is the finite verb. Now, this example proves the fact that it is a simple sentence, and therefore remember that a finite verb is a must, and that finite verb, yes, divides the sentence into subject part and a predicate part, and these three important elements must be there to make a simple sentence. Again, another, be careful of pickpockets. Be careful of pickpockets. This is another sentence example. Be, here the subject is you, which is usually omitted. This is another simple sentence. It is imperative sentence, and in imperative sentence, which expresses, as you know, that order, advice, request, suggestion, warning, instruction, etc. Therefore, whenever we speak, we should know whether we are speaking for the sake of suggestion or advice, order, etc. Therefore, we should know that there is a subject which is you, and usually it is omitted, but it is understood, either in spoken or in written. Therefore, here we find, be careful of pickpockets. Here the subject is you, which is omitted. Be careful of pickpockets is the predicate part, and be is the finite verb. Yes, as we know, be verb is used as an auxiliary verb, but it can be used as a main verb to express the meaning become. Be means become. And here, careful of pickpockets. Naturally, in here we find that careful of pickpockets, the predicate part, be is the finite verb. Yes, it is now proved that be careful of pickpockets, imperative sentence, also a simple sentence. It has one subject part, one predicate part, one finite verb. Now come to next. Who teaches you English? For example, under who teaches you English? This is a question sentence. It is also a simple sentence, and in this simple sentence we find subject part, one subject part, that is who is the subject, and teaches is the finite verb, you English. So he used to listen, who teaches you English? And here we find who subject part, here teaches you predicate part. So this is the way how we find that a simple sentence has one subject, one predicate part, and a finite verb. Yes, another, that is what a nice idea it is. What a nice idea it is. So this is the exclamatory sentence. Here we find that what a nice idea it is. So in this simple sentence, this is exclamatory sentence because note of exclamation is there. And here, what a nice idea. In this simple sentence, it is the subject part it is the subject part. A subject part, and is what a nice word. Is the predicate part 1, PP1, PP1 and PP2, part 2. So what a nice idea it is. If we explain any declared sentence, it is a very nice idea. You see, it is a very nice idea. It comes the beginning. It means here we find it is the subject, is the predicate part 1, and what a nice idea predicate part 2. And therefore it is clear. Again, if we say may God bless you. And in this is also optative sentence. I mean, what do you mean optative sentence? It means whenever we express our wish or prayer for the well-being of others, that is what we call optative. Here, may God bless you. Here we find God is a subject part or subject, and may predicate part 1 and bless you PP part 2. So here we find this is optative sentence. So you see, listen here, come to conclusion. In a short we can find that a simple sentence simple sentence is of 5 types, and that is declarative or assertive sentence, imperative sentence, exclamative sentence, question sentence, or interrogative sentence, and side by side optative sentence. Yes, in all these sentences there is one subject part, one predicate part, and one finite verb. Yes, okay. Therefore here we find the matter. Again, another, Rahul speaks. If we go to the compound sentence, if we go for the example, compound sentence, remember, compound sentence may be formed of 2 clauses or more than 2 clause. Yes, so here we find factor is clear. Now, how a compound sentence are definitely there must be a coordinator or conjunction or linker, yes, or connector. What we say that Rahul speaks both English and Hindi well. This is compound sentence, and here we find compound sentence, and in this compound sentence we find 2 clauses. Here we find Rahul speaks English well. This is one clause, and the other, he also speaks Hindi well. He also speaks Hindi well. 2 independent sentences. I mean independent clauses, simple sentences. Yes, and here Rahul subject part speaks FB finite verb, and English well predicate part. Here he subject part speaks finite verb, Hindi well predicate part, and here starting from speaks. So here we find that how subject part, predicate part, and finite verb, and here finite verb. And but whenever we join, definitely useless or unnecessary words are omitted. Yes, and now come here, Rahul speaks. Therefore Rahul speaks both. Here we find both and are correlative conjunction. So here we find there are 2 subjects, 2 predicate parts, and 2 finite verbs, and hence 2 independent clauses. 2 independent clauses are connected with the help of both and. Therefore, it is now clear, both and. That is both and is a correlative, and for that sake unnecessary words are omitted. Here we find Rahul, therefore he is omitted, and whenever both and also is omitted, and the idea speaks, and here speaks and speaks is also omitted here first, the second. Again another idea, well is also omitted. Therefore we can easily know Rahul speaks both English and Hindi well. By in one sentence we find two clauses. If we separate them, we find two independent clauses. Yes, this is the nature of a compound sentence. Now, the man who is watering the plants, the man who is watering the plants is my grandfather. This is a complex sentence. In this complex sentence, there are two clauses. Here, the old man is my grandfather, one clause, the old man is my grandfather. It is a simple sentence and independent clause. Again, it is a simple sentence and independent because who watering the plants. Who is here subordinating conjunction, who, and relates to the old man. Here we have who is watering the plants. Next, who is watering the plants? It is, remember, also an independent clause. But if we connect it, the man who here, subject, this is what you call part 1, that is MC, main clause 1, and is my grandfather, MC, part 2. The man is my grandfather. And here, who is watering the plants? Who is the antecedent is the old man, who is the relative pronoun relating the man. Therefore, who is watering the plants? Who is watering the plants is not here independent clause. It is dependent or subordinate clause. Without the man, this sentence cannot express the meaning. Therefore, this is the difference in between simple, compound and complex. Compound, independent clauses, there may be two or more than two independent clauses, and there is one coordinator. But in a complex sentence, there is one independent clause and there may be two, but they must be subordinate. Yes, therefore here we find subordinate clause. Again, compound complex sentence. This is another very interesting idea in connection with the compound complex sentence. Here we find that another very tricky and interesting factor, compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence is formed using two or more independent clauses. Many of our students are in confusion in this connection, and they also, even senior students, those who are applying for any job or something like that, they are also in confusion about this matter. That is compound complex sentence in the sense whenever compound and complex, both the clauses are found in one sentence. That is what you call compound complex sentence. The name itself indicates the idea that how complex sentence is formed using two or more independent clauses plus one or more subordinate clauses. This is interesting. Whenever two subordinate clauses are there with one main clause, and whenever two or more independent clauses are there with and one that is subordinate clause, in that case we find the matter that a complex compound sentence. Then how? Let's see the examples to clarify the idea. Next come. Here we find when the thunderstorm hit. When, remember when is subordinating conjunction. And yes, when the thunderstorm hit, it doesn't give complete meaning. Yes, Just understand, when the thunderstorm hit, the electricity went out here in past tense, and because here the electricity hit, thunderstorm hit, past tense, hit, and the electricity went out, the roads flooded, and several trees fell, causing traffic jams and blocking streets. Yes, here we find when the thunderstorm hit. Here we find that is subordinate clause. Yes, and electricity went out, MC main clause, the roads flooded, MC, and several trees fell, causing, here MC. So you see here three main clauses are there. Again, once again, three independent clauses are there, and one with one subordinate clause. Here we have four clauses in one sentence, but here we find three are independent, one is dependent or subordinate. Therefore, here this is what you call the example of what? That is compound complex sentence. Yes, three sentences are independent, one is subordinate, and when the thunderstorm hit, all these incident happened. This is past incident. Understood? What? The electricity went out, and here roads flooded, here finite verb, and fell also finite verb. Here we find FP finite verb. This fell causing traffic jams and blocking streets. What we find in our day-to-day life. She studied hard for her exam. But she still failed because she couldn't understand the questions. She studied hard. Yes, very interesting. She studied hard for her exam, but here we find but is the coordinator, conjunction, and she still failed because, you see, listen, because is here that is coordinating clause, coordinator, and here subordinate, because subordinating conjunction. Conjunctions are two types. One is coordinating whenever compound sentences are formed, and other is subordinating conjunction whenever complex sentences are formed. We use all these conjunctions. Remember, because she couldn't understand the question. Here we find she studied hard for exam MC, but she still failed. Here MC, here we find MC. Here we find main clause. Two independent clauses are connected with but. Because. Now, after compound sentence, then another clause comes to join in order to express complete meaning. Because the reason of his failure was because she couldn't understand the questions. Yes. And because indicates subordinate, and here we find that is what the idea in connection with that is compound complex sentence. Again, another, as soon as I heard the news, I informed my friends and we made plans to celebrate. Attention, so it was no doubt a good news and a piece of good news. Whenever it came, we were surprised as soon as I heard the news. Again, the news, as soon as, here, as soon as, mark it. We find this is, that is conjunction, as soon as, and this is what you call subordinating conjunction. subordinating conjunction. It indicates adverb time. As soon as I heard the news, I informed my friends. I informed my friends. Yes, MC, and we made plans to celebrate. Also MC. So I mean main clause. Here we find two main clauses and one subordinate clause to express this complex compound sentence. So here we find the interesting ideas are that how conjunctions, subordinating and coordinating conjunctions are useful in what? That is compound and complex sentence. Yes, again in the last example we find although he was late, he still managed to catch the train and he arrived his destination on time. Although he was late, although is again subordinating conjunction and he was late. He was late. This is what you call subordinating. This is not independent clause, and he still managed to catch the train is the main clause because it can express the idea independently, and here he arrived his destination on time. On time means the right time. Here we find the matter that both are the independent clauses they have been connected with the help of a coordinating conjunction, that is and here although is the subordinating conjunction, therefore subordinating clause, and here we come to in short, my dear students, these are very tricky and interesting ideas. If we know the clause, then we can easily speak and write properly the simple sentence, compound and complex sentences. Yes, therefore it is your duty to know all these matters and utilize in your day-to-day life of speaking and writing. And yes, I think I expect you to just share this video to your friends, understand it, read the videos again and again, listen to the matter again and again, and try to just apply it in your day-to-day life. Give your comments so that your feedback will support me to prepare a number of other videos for your betterment. I will discuss the matter on other chapter in the next class. Thank you for being with me. Have a nice day. Bye.